Hello, happy Easter. It is Easter Sunday here in Wisconsin, and guess how I'm spending part of my time? That's right, making screencasts for you guys. I hope you had a great weekend and were able to get outside. Yesterday was gorgeous, Saturday, so we got a lot done. And then even this morning was really nice. But now, if you look out my bedroom window, it is starting to cloud over, and that rain that they were talking about looks like it might be coming our way soon. So, my husband and my child are out playing, giving me time to do some recordings this afternoon to get ready for this coming week. So we're moving into week 4, I can hardly believe it, of digital learning, and I hope things are going well. I had the opportunity to talk to some of you last week, and I learned that things that for the most part, you're not feeling overburdened, at least by my class. So I'm hoping that things are kind of calming down a little bit and you're getting a pattern and a schedule. If you need anything, please feel free to contact me so that I know a little bit more about what's going on and anything I can do to make this process a little bit smoother for you. Okay. Also, I wanted to give a big shout out and a thank you. You will notice up above in Schoology, I have placed a bulletin board with like kudos and shout outs from these last couple weeks. I'll be changing that every week, and giving kudos and shout outs to a bunch of people. I want to thank everybody for the PSAT or the SAT, taking that practice online so that I can get started on my paper. Average scores did go up. But not by as much as Khan Academy said they would, although some of you had some incredible gains. We're talking like 80 to 110 points gains, which was really cool. But other people maybe went down a little bit. And I totally get that because it's online and it wasn't as easy to concentrate when it's online as it can be when you're sitting in the gym with a piece of paper in front of you. Plus, you can't annotate, so it makes it really difficult. So don't worry, I'm just using those for my paper. I have put in completion grades for those of you in the grade book that managed to complete that. If you didn't manage to complete it and you'd still like to, please shoot me an email or a remind letting me know that you still want to do that. And I will hold compiling my graphs until probably like Tuesday or Wednesday this week. So you could still do it today if you wanted to. All right, today we are back to talking about Major Paper 4. So I'm going to shrink myself down. No. Going over into the corner. So far, you have turned in for Major Paper 4 a resume. You've turned in a letter of request asking someone to write you a letter of recommendation. And you've turned in a prompt response for one of the common application essays. I've looked at all of those that have been turned in, and I have made comments and adjustments and things like that to those. So you can go back to the grade book and you can access your document, and you'll see that I've made some edit suggestions for your common app. And you can start making those corrections and suggestions and things like that now. Most of you had very little few corrections that needed to be made, just like grammar and word choice and maybe adding a little bit there, taking a little bit away there. There are a couple of you who might need to like rethink your essay, so double check that and see how you're doing. Today we are going to talk about the last essay in your portfolio, and I'm going to go into big screen here. So it's the 500-word personal statement. So these are usually what colleges will put into their application. They will say, please submit a 500-word personal statement. And that's pretty much all they say. They don't really give you guidelines about what to include in that statement. They don't really tell you what not to include in that statement. So what you need to do is you need to think about, again, something that shows a new side of you. So let's say you wrote about a tough decision that you made in your life and how you came to that decision, or the obstacle in the last one where you wrote about obstacle or challenges, or the identity. You did some of you have a personal identity that your application would be incomplete without it. Now you want to show a different thing. So if last time you wrote about how you suddenly felt at home because you joined band, this time, do not write about band. Write about something else about yourself. If you wrote about joining boys water polo, do not write about water polo or swimming, or maybe not even a sport for this one. Think about, okay, they've seen me as an athlete, or they've seen me as an artist, or they've seen me as a son or a daughter or something along those lines. Now I want to show them this other side of me. Maybe if you're an athlete, now you show them your artistry. Maybe if you wrote about before being a son or a daughter, now you're writing about being a student. But this is a personal statement. So these are 3 suggestions for you of what you can kind of think of to write about. Number 1, what do you have to offer the world? So that's a huge question. Like, what is it that you can give to the world that nobody else can? That's what they want to know. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a connection to your chosen major or career, especially if you don't have one yet. But you can write a little bit about, like, what is your personal philosophy of life? And what do you hope to get out of life? Do you want to be able to walk into every opportunity that you're given and try to make that place better by your presence? Like, is that your philosophy of life? What do you want to say about that? The second one could be just a connection to your chosen major or career. What got you first interested in the career that you're choosing? Again, don't write about this if you already have. Choose a different topic. And then the final one, what makes you who you are? Some of you chose to write that for your personal statement, but there's so many sides of you. So choose a different side of you to write about. Okay, so the point with this one is that there are very few guidelines from the college. So you have to be creative, you have to stand out, you have to do your research, know what the college is looking for. Like if you are wanting to apply to a specific college like Yale or Harvard or something like that, Dartmouth, look at those institutions and see, what kind of student do they look for? And that might help give you ideas. Go to the college's websites and look at information about the colleges and look at their mottos, look at what kind of student goes there. And that might help you decide how to write this. Okay. It should be absolutely flawless. It is 500 words. Therefore, the shorter something is, the cleaner it should be. A few years ago, for their 250th anniversary or something, it was crazy. But Notre Dame put out a series of 7 essays that students had to answer, and they wanted you to get as close to 250 words as possible. So a student that I was helping apply to Notre Dame, and we did each of the 7 essays, and we got them exactly at 250 words. But we went over those things over and over and over again before we hit the submit button, because we knew if it was 250 words, it should be flawless. Some colleges will ask you for personal statements and they'll only give you a character count. That is how many letters and spaces you can have. So again, proofread, and make sure that it's perfect. Okay, so your format for your personal statements. You want to think of it as being maybe a story, in which case you're starting en media res, meaning in the middle of things. Again, beginning with dialogue might be a good idea. Or you could begin with something that's totally revealing about yourself. Like if you started a personal statement with, I was 7 years old when I understood the world for the first time. Boom. That is like a huge, unusual opening, because first of all, you're 7, and then you're understanding the world. So it kind of grabs people's attention, or provides an appeal to pathos. These are ones that you kind of want to try to relate to your career path. You don't have to, if you don't have a career path, don't feel pressured to choose a career just so you can rate this essay, but try to show something important about yourself that you can relate to your career path, if that's a possibility. Always remember to come to the future of what the story it is you're telling. Some of your prompt responses, I had to remind you, don't forget in the conclusion, they want to know how this is going to help you in your future. And that's kind of what we want to see. Keep in mind that you are telling a story. This is the story of you, and this is the final chapter in the story of you. So make sure that it is great. This one, even above the Common App one, is probably your most important one that you're going to be writing. And this is why, because so many colleges ask for a personal statement, a 500-word personal statement, more even above and beyond those who are part of the Common App, that you want to make sure that this one is great, because this one is going to be one that you're going to use over and over again. All right, so let's review some of the things that you have gotten. First of all, here is the Major Paper 4 packet that I gave you on the last day I saw you in person. You had my high school resume, you had a letter of reference request, and then the next one in there, 487 words, was the personal statement that I actually used when I was applying to college. And I opened with, I thought, something that was unusual. I am an autodidact raised within a family of autodidacts. An autodidact is someone who teaches themselves, and I've always been that way. So I thought that was really important for someone to know about me, that even when I'm not given direction, I will find the direction and I'll figure out how to make things myself, because I was used to teaching myself. So that's what I decided was an important thing to write about. So you can read that over. It doesn't have to be 2 paragraphs. It is kind of the way that I set it up might be one way that you want to kind of like organize it, because I started with 1 paragraph about the past and 1 paragraph projecting into the future. And that could be the way that you want to think about it. This is the thing that molded you into who you were or who you are today. And this is what you hope to take with you in the future. All right. I think that's all I need to tell you as far as the personal statement. I have on your in your Schoology homepage for today included a couple of YouTube videos about the college application process that I think are really interesting. It's showing college admission officers discussing different students' applications and making determinations about who they should let into their college based on those applications. And so they are underneath this video. I would like you to watch, I think there's 2 of them. I'd like you to watch both of them and kind of think about that process. You'll see that both of them talk about how important the essays are. If a college is on, like, if your SAT scores and your grades and your extracurriculars all check out, well, so do 1,000 other kids applying to that college. The essays are the thing that set you apart from everybody else applying. And so colleges really give them a huge consideration. Okay, so that is it for this particular screencast. Your 500-word personal statement is due to be submitted on Friday. For the rest of this week, we'll be talking about, I'll come back to this tomorrow, I believe, or Friday. Maybe not until Friday, because I'll let you get those in and taken care of. And then I'll talk to you about next steps for these portfolios before you turn them in for a quality grade on May 1st. But then the rest of the week, we're going to be really focusing on the AP exam and the rhetorical analysis essay. Now, for those of you who didn't sign up to take the AP exam, you actually still can. If you've decided now that you'd much rather take a 45-minute AP exam instead of the 3.5-hour AP exam that you would have taken had this coronavirus thing not happened, and you're like, yeah, you know what? I can write a single rhetorical analysis essay with all this review, almost a month of review that we'll have together as a class, because that date is May 20th. Contact Mr. Herkus and see if you can still sign up to take it. If there are some of you who no longer think you want to take it because it's a single essay and it's 45 minutes, I would suggest that you still take it, because again, it is 45 minutes. It is like 1/4 of the time that you would have done for the AP exam. And I guarantee, because of the whole situation, the scoring is probably going to be a little bit easier to pass this year than any other year. So think about sticking with it and taking it, or contacting Mr. Herkus to sign up for it if you haven't yet. Okay, so like I said, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll be talking about the AP exam. Friday, when you come back on, I'll be giving you like final reminders about this essay and then the next steps for your major paper 4 portfolio. And that's pretty much the week. So I hope you had a great Easter weekend or Passover or just time together with your family, spending time in the sunshine. And I hope you're ready to get started again this week. Have a great week this week. Wish I could see you in person. Hope I can see you before the school year ends. But either way, enjoy the week this week. Take care.